So yeah, I distinctly remember this dude running it. Johnny was up there. This motherfucker sucked. May was fucking unplayable. No combos. Kai's pretty poop, but whatever. Bridget. I have some words on Bridget. He's pretty mid-tier. Dizzy's about here. Faust might move in a second. She's pretty mid-tier. From my personal experience, being the one dude do fucking work with Chip in this game, it's pretty mid-tier. Slayer had the dumbass infinite. I'd probably put him here. Venom didn't really get played too much. Potemkin's definitely here. I-No at this time was about here. Baiken's here. Millia was here. Soul's somewhere here. Venom was pretty unexplored, but I think Testament was pretty C tier. Actually, I'll swap these two. I don't think Bridget was like that high in this game. Bridget became really dumb in Slash. You can make a case for Bridget being A in Reload, but I would say like these characters are still kind of like a cut above, like Bridget. So I'll go into why these characters were the way they were back then. So, what's the best way to play GGXX today? No DC. No. Jam isn't that high until Reload. Jam is nowhere near that high until Reload. Good character, but she's not like S tier or anything like that until Reload when they buffed her stun damage. Let's go with. All right, so I'm gonna have fun with this, and then we'll talk a little bit more on the Tokido thing in a minute. Okay, so Midnight Carnival XX, right? I'm gonna start with some of the worst characters in the game. So May sucks in this game. May is god awful in XX. Like, by the way, disregard RoboKai down here. Anyone watching this in the future? This is just for Midnight Carnival. We just watched Togeki 2003, so I'm just looking at the tier list from this game. But yeah, May sucks because she has like no combos. Literally no combos. She has one gimmick, and the gimmick she always had, which is her stun damage off 6p. Other than that, May is just trash. There's not much to say about her. Like I said, literally no combos. Like, this character had like no combos until like Slash. Like, Reload, don't get me wrong, she has combos. Like, she can hit you, but like she can't really do damage. That's her problem. And all her combos required a lot of execution in Reload in comparison. Alright, so she's just garbage, right? I'll even order them. Anji, good buttons, good mix-up. It's a shame that you can just take the hit from the butterfly. When I learned that, this character completely went to dog shit. And a lot of people learn that too. Like, even if he sets up the butterfly, you can legitimately hold forward, take the hit, because he didn't recover in time fast enough to punish you. And there's no, like, the butterfly did not have hit stop. And I want to say it was like that up until Slash. I want to say. Like, he does good against a lot of other characters. He might even be C tier. But he's pretty weak. Like, the thing is, he's got good normals. And he can do good damage. But the main component that makes him strong, which is his mix-up, you do not have to deal with it in this game whatsoever. So you're playing like a character kind of half-assed. And so, like, because that was a thing, this character is just not good. Yeah, no Rin follow-up. There's a lot of things about him. Even, like, when I played every good Anji back then, too. No fear. Hi, Husky. No fear. Because you just throw your butterfly and I just don't do anything on wake up and just laugh at you because you can't do shit. I know, right? It's bad, right? You weren't around for it, Husky. You're just here for the story too, man. Hey, man. in the end. I know, I'm just he sucks in this game. He's bad. You're supposed to like shit, right? That's right. This shit's the best, right? Anyway. Alright. You're hurting yourself, Husky. Go eat. Go eat food. Yeah, he's in a really playful mood right now. I can tell. He's bouncing around because he actually hit his face on the little mini table here, so he's kind of hype right now. But he hasn't eaten yet, so I need him to eat first, then we can play. What made I-No bad in this game? Execution. That's kind of all that holds her back. We'll get there though. Zappa, he at least has combos and has Rao. I could actually move him here. His normals are still kind of whatever, but when people learn how to use Ghost and Dog and stuff like that, like people put him as like the worst in the game, but I don't think he's worse than me. Not even close. So, Rao was really cheap in this game, and Thor's Hammer every game does a lot of risk build, and it snatches a lot of your FD. As the games moved on, they lowered that. In this game, he does Thor's Hammer. You have a full tension gauge. If you jump into Thor's Hammer, you have no gauge, no gauge. Even if you're grounded, it will take at least 70% of your gauge, at least. And it depends on your character's hitbox size too, right? But most people, they see Thor's Hammer, they jump. They don't think to stay on the ground and just crouch it. But like the closer you are to Zappa when he does it, you're just gonna take mad chip damage. And then he had like a 3-frame. He's the only character in the game with a 3-frame uppercut with Thor's. So I mean with is it Thor? No, Rao. Excuse me, Rao. Thor's Hammer is a super, but yeah, Rao's uppercut was 3 frames. So his combos would be like dust, uppercut, uppercut, RC, uppercut, dead. So like, because he has unblocks, he's not that bad, but it's random. His air throw game is mad good. But as the games moved on, he got a bit better, but all of the characters got better. The thing is, to me, Zappa's always been like a sleeper character. Then in Plus R, they're like, here, let's just give you everything. And that's another reason why I fucking can't stand that game. But, whatever, that's Plus R. Talking about Midnight Carnival. Venom, this dude here, oh man, I don't even know what to say. Venom only has like one FRC in this game, and that's Stinger. He wasn't truly developed. He always had good normals, but he wasn't a developed character. People had a lot of cool setups with him and stuff like that, but like at that time, no one understood that these were that this was the optimal way to play it. Like these setups that you're working on and stuff like that, this is what you're supposed to do with it. So as the games moved on, he got better. But during this time, he was just blah 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 sweep Dark Angel. Get a mix up, you blocked it, okay fine, whatever. Dark Angel again at some point. FRC, Stinger, pressure, Carcass Raid shenanigans. But nothing was really like dangerous. 6P was okay. It wasn't amazing though. So the Axl button, it kind of is. It's kind of been like that. I-No, all that holds her back in this game to me is execution. Like, again, underdeveloped character. Fairly underdeveloped character. But she had I won't even say she's underdeveloped. There was a lot of people playing her back then in Japan and in America. But, like, I feel like the input for Chemical Love was always her issue. I've said this for years. If they were to ever make Chemical Love a 236 input, that character's gonna just move up in tier. Just for lower execution barrier alone. But Arxis always knew that, and her damage output has always been high. Always. She's always had an amazing 6P, etc., etc. You know, her neutral's still like still tough, especially when Axl exists, Faust exists, Zanuff exists. You know, everyone above her. So she does have trouble with a lot of other characters, but like I would say all that really holds her back is her execution. And I mean, it shows that even in Xrd, right? When they made the input easier, even her tough matchups are like the same for, as long as when you get hit by her, all her setups, everything, sure there's character specific stuff, but you get knocked down, she treats everyone the same. They all get fucked up on the go. You have to hold some shit. Straight up. So, yeah. To me, that was really it. As the games got moved along, Reload was a game where she was really good too, but again, everyone else just got better. Slash is easily her best game, but that's also because the top tiers that were good got nerfed and she got better. I would still say, like, I think AC is her most creative game though. I think she's really creative in AC. I think Rev 2.5 she's creative also, because they just consistently kept buffing her. So Potemkin, Pot, it still has an unblockable with Slide Head. He still does great damage. His stun damage is super high. This game you can get stunned pretty fast, and if you play incorrectly against Potemkin, you could just die. But I wouldn't put him as like shit tier. He wouldn't be down there with the other two, in my opinion. He still has Flick. You know, he still has good, like, Pot still has good normals and stuff like that. I think his only FRC was Mega Fist in this game. Heat Knuckle's still air unblockable, so like, I mean, he's still a grappler, you know? He got better in Slash. I'd say Slash is when he started getting really good. Reload, it's kind of okay, but he's still not amazing. Ky, I almost put Ky in D tier because this character honestly just sucks. Like, Ky just doesn't keep up in this version at all. And this is the first game where they gave him Greed Seaver. They always change his 2-1-4 input every game. That's like a general thing. But yeah, Ky just doesn't do shit. Can you say something? Of course, why not? Yeah, Ky in general just doesn't do anything. His FRCs are like, it's just what, big fireball and slide? His combos always required proper spacing. His damage output was weak. He had a great, his anti-air and neutral game is still great, but like, there's nothing about him that's oppressive. He's just not that good. I'm not saying that there weren't good players with him, but everyone else like above him is just like, yeah, dude, whatever. Almost no KDs? What do you mean? He had slide and sweep. He had like a gimmick, Star Trap, right? Where like, you can knock someone down and then do like super jump, instant star, and it's like, it does build up a lot of risk build, but it's like, whatever, dude. Just block, and then when you land, it just mess you up because you can't do something immediately. So, you know, his, like, Ky is Ky. Yep, the 6K loop, that was his damage, but you had to be crouching. Quality of life must matter a lot in Arceus games, and that shows from XXX series. You have to be very careful or you end up with Johnny or I-No on Xrd. Yeah, pretty much. Johnny's buttons are way easier to use in Xrd. Stop. Stop right there. Johnny's buttons have always been easy to use. What makes them harder in this game and the older games is that some characters can duck far slash. What? He still has 6K and 6H, so. And 2S. Johnny has never been difficult to use. The only thing that made Johnny hard is like Divine Blade. But when you get past Divine Blade and like Divine Blade and 1-hit Insingas, whatever. Other than that, the character's not that hard. His unblocks were super free in the older games. Anyway, Ky needed like spacing to do his slide combos and stuff like that, which wasn't always given to him. So yeah, Ky just sucks. I'm sorry. He's just not that good. Now I put Testament at the bottom of B because Testament could essentially be like there. He's almost a C tier character to me, and the only reason for him almost being a C tier character to me is because the the character icons. And I would tell people this shit all the time at tournaments. Like, my success ratio in beating Testament players was super high once I trained myself to look at the character icons. So if they were going to try to mix me up, I'd just be like, okay. Of course you can do that with many other characters, but like, with him in particular, because you can't see what's happening in the web, it made it easier for him. Like, but when fighting Millia, no, you have to look at her. Testament was the only other character I looked at the character icons, like a shit ton. I did that shit with him all the time. But his normals are really good, his damage is really good. His neutral is some of the best in the game. That's the thing, Testament's neutral has always been really freaking good. Like, if played properly, you're not going to get next to that character. So for that, for his neutral alone, is why I even put him in B. Then after that is my boy. I would say back then, he was considered probably like low tier. Chip. But it's kind of like the Venom case, right? But I'm speaking from my perspective, and I do believe he's a mid-tier character in XX. Reload, he's definitely not. This game, he is. Ky sucks in every XX version. Slash is his best game. Reload Ky is barely better than this Ky. And it's only because they gave him Vapor Thrust loops. But after that, it's like, he's not doing that much different than this game. They made his slide combos a tad bit easier, but it's still whatever. It's not amazing. Ky still has a lot of the same problems. But yeah, back on Chip. In this game, Chip's 6K is an overhead. It is not. And Chip only has, what, 2 FRCs in this game? Leaf throw and overhead kick, or bonsai kick. Bonsai kick was a 2-frame, and leaf throw was a 1-frame FRC. Like, tough life. But Chip does have access to a great 6P. Oh, by the way, his uppercut is god-awful. Whew! Man, I used to get thrown out of his uppercut. I learned how to play. Imagine playing a character who had an uppercut that was garbage. Of course, we could talk like that about Axl, but Chips doesn't trade. Chips does not trade. Not to mention in the air, if you ended your air combos with uppercut, they could tech before you even hit the ground and combo you. Man, it used to piss me off. I'd be like winning games, and I'm praying that the uppercut last hit's gonna kill, and it doesn't, and I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get comboed on the way down. That shit used to suck. Oh, that used to suck, dude. Oh, that used to suck, man. I hated that shit so much. Hated it oh so much. So, yeah. But his air uppercut had more invul and was faster, but like, it needed a counter hit. And they kind of made Chip's uppercut kind of similar to this in Xrd. Xrd, you could throw it, just like you can in the older games, but like, it's still better overall. He didn't get a good uppercut until Guilty Gear Isuka, which is freaking hilarious. That Dookie game gave him a better uppercut. And then they transferred that same uppercut to Slash, and from then forward, he had a good uppercut. But his mix-ups, his ability to like stay on certain characters, he does good against everyone in the top tier. Like Chip's matchups in this game, he has a lot of good matchups. A lot of good matchups. Everyone who's above him, he can fight. Just fine. Every last one of them. And even countering Soul and Dizzy. You know, and Millia. To some extent. I don't know, I've always thought Chip versus Millia was a counter match for Millia. Does super good against Bridget, does super good against Axl. Pretty even with Jam in this game. Runs over Testament. Like, he kind of had this evolution problem in Japan. But I think I did a lot of work with him here in the States that kind of influenced Japan. And then that kind of moved that agenda forward. It's just in Reload, it wasn't really exemplified, but they were using things that I was using, and it kind of pushed him further. But he's still like, Chip is really not good in Reload. Thinking about it now, Chip's only real way to open you up in this game is high-low throw. But in this game, 6K isn't overhead. 6K is actually an amazing counter poke to Zato. Like, I was actually upset when they made his 6K an overhead in Reload and later games. Because in XX, he had a lot of really neat jumping style tricks and mix-ups. And at the start of a game against Eddie, he can't 2S. It's impossible. Because Chip's 6K would counter hit and cause hard knockdown. If it was against the wall, it was wall bounce into jumping style combo, which was really neat for Chip. The only downside to him in this game, I mean, I could talk about him all day, but jump dust, no ground bounce on counter hit, no ground slide on counter hit. Like, his counter hit game isn't that amazing, but his ability to like play around all your shit is really good. So Jam, similar to Chip, in a lot of ways, does really good damage, but like her combo schema in this game wasn't really defined either, but her pressure game was good. Because in comparison to Guilty Gear X, like, it's very different. Reload is when she really started to shine. But she's a solid mid-tier character in this game. 100%. Axl, we've watched him play earlier. I'd even move him... I'd probably move him at the bottom of B, actually. I think Testament's still better. But, yeah. Axl's okay. Since the game wasn't fully developed yet, his major thing was damage and zoning. And he only had one FRC. He's the only character in the game with one FRC, I believe. Which was Geki with Sonic Boom, but it's a one-framer. So if you got that, you're a god. That's where, like, a lot of his damage potential was locked behind that move. And I believe they did it that way because Arxis figured his zoning was too good. And if he was to hit you, he would do massive amounts of damage, which he does do a lot of damage. So for 25 meter, you know, 5k close slash sweep, rinsing FRC into, if you're in the corners especially, into bomber loops was like a lot of damage. Not to mention he could air reset you with an air throw at the end with another close slash from like the last bomber. So he could just do close slash delay, super jump air throw, and that shit would potentially stun you, barring your character. And if you were fighting lighter characters, he would do so much damage, like Bridget, Baiken, Millia, like a lot of the females, they float. So his bomber loops do bad damage on them. Bad damage. Bridget. Bridget, technically speaking, could be in the A tier. But I feel like it's somewhat of the same things were like a little bit undiscovered. Bridget's strength didn't really start pushing until Reload. But Bridget neutral's really good. Only downside again, Bridget always had to sacrifice damage over Oki. And this character doesn't always get Oki. You know, a lot of the combos you saw, especially from what we were watching, is a lot of grounded combos so that Bridget can maintain a knockdown. Otherwise, air confirms were just simple air combos into, alright, Starship, run away, you know? And before Bridget's FDC shenanigans, you know, so pretty solid mid-tier character. Could be A, but whatevs. This tier can organize this a little bit better. I would say he's here. I think this is fairly okay. Maybe here. Somewhere about this ballpark. I think this is pretty much the ballpark arena. This could make a case for this guy going here because of the bite loops, but we may talk about that further. Anyway, Baiken, in 2002, you saw Cat King do a lot of work with Baiken. Baiken obviously evolved. Character does mad damage, attack while blocking. She was consistently a high tier character, I would say, up until maybe Slash. I think Slash is where she kind of took a bit of a dip. But she does, like I said, loads of damage. Dust loops hurt. She can dust loop you from half screen. Take you to the corner, half screen you. Then your Zunson mix-up was really good. I don't know, she's just really good. And she does good against, specifically Zato. Just because, like, he can't really rely on Eddie pressure. Because she has answers for that with her, you know, attack while blocking. You know? Slayer, he's pretty much just BDC the character. You backdash cancel everything. Backdash Mappa, backdash Dandy, backdash Super Jump, backdash Mappa, backdash Super, backdash Command Grab. Oh, you got Command Grab? Time to do the infinite. So you do infinite Command Grab, get stunned, lose the game. See you next round. So he's a pretty one-dimensional character. But because he hits so hard and he's got that infinite, even though the game shows you that you could stagger out in this game, like if you did that perfectly, they weren't getting away. It was like impossible. So, I mean, protagonist power. What's there to say about this guy? He just hits hard. One frame, he had the 2-frame cancel window on his gunflame, and it was an instant cancel. So as you did gunflame, it was 1-2. He had tricks with gunflame into command grab, instant command grab. The gunflame would go active, but like the gunflame would come out but wouldn't go active, but force your character, the enemy character, to block, and you can command grab them before the gunflame would even touch them. So we had tricks like that. Now we didn't see it in the Togeki's stuff, but you know, that stuff existed. Counter hit anything with this character, you probably might get stunned. He can dust loop you from 3/4 screen, from close to corner. Yeah. Just anything went in the dust loop, and it just did massive amounts of damage. And he would get the knockdown, and he would get a meaty, and he would get a mix-up. Consistent. He can fight pretty much everyone here in the top, but they give him a tough time. I think he beats Millia still. Pretty much of a historic, annoying matchup for Millia because Soul's out normals her completely in the damage output. I do believe this was a tough match for him. I think Dizzy and Faust definitely mess him up. Dizzy, Faust, and Johnny, like these are all tough matchups for him in this game. Johnny's 6P just demolishes Soul's jump. Just Dizzy's overall keep away game makes it very difficult for Soul to do anything. And Faust is more of the same, just with better normals. But the good thing is he can fight Eddie. So he's not a bad pick against that character. You randomize him with one uppercut. That whole setups, all the setups are gone for a hot minute. Because Eddie's not a good character with his normals. Eddie's normals are not that good at all. Like, Xrd, this game, I don't care what anyone says. His normals are not that good. They've never been amazing. They're just enough to deter you to allow him to summon, basically. So, Soul doesn't give a shit about that. Never has, never will. Dizzy and Faust are pretty similar. I kind of talk about them both at the same time. Dizzy's fish bits are like really annoying. So if you played Rev 2.5, you should know how annoying Dizzy can be. Or if you play plus R, a lot of it's the same. A lot of her Oki and bubble mix-ups and stuff like that, all relatively speaking the same in this game. It wasn't as developed and prevalent as it was in like Reload and Up. But overall, her neutral was really annoying. Her damage output's annoying. Combo from throw was really good. Her 2H FRC, good god. 2H FRC was probably one of the scariest things about that character. That was basically her get off me. Her 2K, 5K, 2H, like all of her buttons were just super good footsie normals. All of them. Like, she just doesn't have truly a bad normal. The only thing about Dizzy is her knockdown game from the air isn't very good. But anything that she would knock you down on the ground is super strong. Faust, same stuff, except for his knockdown. Same thing. Knockdown game is mostly on the ground. His aerial game is really good. His mix-up's really good. He's a strong character. Like, I will always say it. The only games right now where Faust is looking weak is Strive. But this game, FTC mix-ups are strong. His command grab is good. His buttons are good. Far Slash is really, really hard to deal with. FTC Jump H, these older games, is just as strong as ever. This is a good character. Good character. Millia, S tiers. Millia. This character is legit, like, she's Oki Queen. You get hit, you die. And her damage output in every first iteration of Guilty Gear always is high. So she hits pretty hard in this game. And she can just consistently put you in the same spot because of her knockdown game. Corner carries are pretty easy. She can corner to corner you, but you would lose your pin in the mid screen, which wasn't so bad because the opponent has to fight their way out. So even if your pin was mid screen, you would still be okay because they have to fight you back. You get your pin back, and then you're good to go. You go back doing the same shit you do all the time with her. Run away, land a whiff punish, mix them up. And that is Millia. Johnny, it's more so that Johnny's unblocks are really silly. They're really, really good in this game. Johnny's one-hit Nsingas on all these other characters, it's pretty insane. He can one-hit Nsinga you and then just unblockable, and then it's game time. You just lose. Like, that's his whole game. Oh, you got hit? Type. Unblock. Dead. This game, level 2 Mistfinder is more important than level 3, because level 3 Mistfinder was never good. Level 2 Mistfinder has always been where it's at for Johnny. In the older games in particular. Can't speak on plus hard, because I don't know. But, prior to that, yeah, level 2 Mistfinder was really what you wanted. So sweep coin, or like any way to hit them with coin, people would just... Back then you would hold on to your coins a little bit more. As the games got more developed and Johnny's tactics developed, he was more about holding on to his coin. So, and like I said, everyone underneath, he does really well against. The only matchup I would say in this game where he has an annoying time is Ky. I think Ky Venom, Johnny, Testament, actually those 4 characters in particular give him a tough time. Chip 2. And Millia. Speakers. Yeah. Like, they give him a tough time. I would say Chip does super good and Millia does super good. Chip Jam, Millia do super good. Ky to some degree. Because of the normals. It's really just the normals. But whatever. Johnny's still really good. He can outplay all that shit. Eddie, he's undisputed the best in this game because access to unblocks is pretty straightforward. He does take some execution. And every matchup, if played properly, he can just dominate. Wrist build on Buzzsaw was huge. Double unblockables, triple unblockables, like, you just name it. Like, he was unblockable, the character, you know? But, you know, still, his normals weren't that great. But if you can use Eddie in conjunction with playing, you know, Zanuff, it's like the perfect character, you know? So, that was pretty much this game, in my opinion. You can dead angle to mix in this game. Yep. A lot of the dead angles in this game, I think maybe only a few of them suck. Eddie's was bad. Axl's was bad. Thinking about it now. I think it was mostly them. I think Mate's was pretty bad too. Reload just changes though, but yeah, more or less. This is pretty much how I felt about this game back in the day. Of course, after I won Texas Showdown, I was like, Chip's about here. Just people don't understand how to play him. He's probably the only character I can safely say I would say he's about A tier, like in the end game. Considering how like limited all the characters are in this version, like including himself, and knowing like how neutral plays out now, yeah, I would say he's somewhere here now. But at the time, about here.